And we are live with another episode of the Miss Marvel Aftershow. We're here to talk about episode 2 of Miss Marvel, now on Disney+. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. This is a show brought to you by The Keeg, where we watch these episodes and we talk about it. But I can't do this alone. I am the host, but I got guest co-host Raisa. You may remember from episode 1's talk, aka Raisin Cosplay. Raisa, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you, Neves? And Dimitri?
Good.
We also got special guest for today's episode. We got Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs. Neebs, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm having a good time. I was away for a little while. I was in Dubai and Turkey, and I came back, and I had all these Miss Marvel stuff going on. So it's been busy, man. It's been busy.
How long were you in Dubai and Turkey?
Probably 2.5 weeks.
Wow. Did you watch Miss Marvel? Because I know. Wait, I mean,
no. I landed the day Miss Marvel came at 2 a.m. I waited an hour, watched it, went to sleep, and then went to the premiere the next day.
That's crazy. You watched the first episode and then went to the premiere?
Yeah, because the premiere I went to was the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
So I watched the first one, and then at the premiere I got to watch 2 of them.
I'm so glad I have both of you for this episode. Because last time, Raisa and I were talking about episode 1, and I had conjecture about episode 2, and it was like, oh yeah, Raisa had seen episode 2 by that point. I was like, am I?
Yeah, and I had like theories and stuff that like took from episode 2. I was like, oh my god, I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Was it hard to like keep episode 2 like out of your brain to talk about episode 1?
Okay, yes, especially because like I've been making so many videos about it on TikTok, and I like when it came out, like The Boys came out and it was the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I just assumed that the first 2 episodes like for the premiere would come out. So I thought everybody saw the first 2 episodes, and that was not the case.
Oh no.
So
did you spoil it?
Nobody said anything. I don't think I spoiled anything big. I had like theories about her powers that obviously were based off of the second episode.
Yeah.
But maybe those like TikToks didn't perform as well because people are like, what the heck is she talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like Back to the Future, where it's like, you don't get it, but your kids are going to love it.
But remember, like, my theory was that, like, when they were saying, like, they followed the stars, my theory is that her great-grandmother had the powers before she did.
Yeah.
And that was why I said I actually preferred the origin in the show, because I think it's more connected to her Pakistani heritage, like the partition. And the show, I feel like will delve much deeper into it than the comics did.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
How many episodes is the first season? Like, I should know because I have
6
the after show.
It's 6 episodes,
6
I believe.
Episodes. Okay.
Yeah, so we're already a third of the way through.
It's been a ride, just 2 episodes in, and I'm like, it feels like it's been longer. I'm like,
yeah,
there's been a lot.
I know. Well, because they're kind of zooming through some of the stuff from the comics. Like, Conrad's already here, and he's already gonna like reveal himself to her.
Right.
So like that happens much later in the comics.
It's funny.
It is going at a good speed. Like it's like covering a lot of stuff.
I feel like this episode was
and
like
I don't
2
feel like
episodes.
it's rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode was long. I didn't feel like it was rushed though. I feel like the pacing's really, really good.
Yeah.
And people are engaged. Like all the reviews are really, really good. Like, people were joking beforehand that like, oh, we're gonna watch Miss Marvel and fall asleep. And then it turns out that like it was Obi-Wan that people were falling asleep at, and like Miss Marvel, everyone's super into. So it's so funny.
Were you guys upset when they announced that like Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel would just be released on the same day, same time?
I did not like that.
I actually didn't really think about it because why wouldn't people just watch both? Like, I have more than 1 hour in the day.
Which is what you would think with a streaming service. But I don't know. Neebs, did you have thoughts?
Yeah, because I do feel like, because when TV shows come out, there's like conversations about it, right? There's like social media. And I feel like when you have to split it between the two, there would be a lot more people talking about Miss Marvel if it didn't come out the same day as Obi-Wan, especially this week when Obi-Wan finally had like a big episode.
Yeah.
And right now, no one's talking about Miss Marvel because something big happened on Obi-Wan, right?
Right.
So
don't spoil it. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I mean, I won't tell you. But
we talked about it last night, like 12 hours ago.
Yeah. No. But like, I feel like there'd be more people talking, but the amount of people who are watching are probably still going to be the same, but the buzz is going to be very different. But I feel like the brown community, the Muslim community, the South Asian community has been doing a good job talking about this because a lot of them don't watch Marvel. A lot of them don't watch these things. So it's a new demographic that's really just talking about it. Like my Facebook, if people are talking about it, people's aunts and uncles are talking about it, right? That's something that you won't get anywhere else. And I feel like we're carrying this at the moment, but it's really cool. But yeah, it does hurt it a little bit in terms of buzz.
I agree.
Yeah, in the same vein, I do feel like it's like there's like a million fanboys talking about Obi-Wan right now. There's like a million, every creator's talking about it. It's like, I don't need to talk about it. Everything's already said. Yeah. But I do feel like us brown and Muslim creators, we have a perspective to offer that other creators don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually decided not to post about Obi-Wan at all. I didn't post a single comment because I want to focus on Miss Marvel only. Just to make I don't want to split my attention because this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to share our culture with people, and I want to use it as much as I can.
Yeah. I was upset when they were announced that they were going to come out at the same time because even though like you would think streaming services, yeah, people just watch it on their own time, right? It's all about dominating the conversation, right? So if Miss Marvel had come out on a Wednesday night and Obi-Wan had come out on a Friday night, or a Friday morning or whatever, like you get at least a couple days where you're the focus, right?
Right.
But that's not the case.
So is Obi-Wan Wednesdays too, or is it Tuesday?
Yeah, Wednesdays.
It's Wednesday.
Same time.
Midnight Wednesday. So like Tuesday going into Wednesday. But they only have one more week of overlap.
Yeah.
It is.
But honestly, let me ask you a question. Do you guys think it might have been a blessing? Because Star Wars has a lot of toxic fans, and I don't want a lot of those toxic people coming on to Miss Marvel and ruining the experience for all of us. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Who knows?
I mean, Star Wars corner of TikTok is fighting right now. They are at each other's throats right now.
Yeah, I'm like, honestly, that's like, I like just haven't, I'm like head empty right now about Obi-Wan. I guess I haven't formulated any thoughts about it. And I'm just like, I'll just let the fandom deal with it. Like they can fight amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Neves actually had a question for you. Go ahead, Dimitri.
Oh, no. I was, what was your question for Neves?
Yeah, well, because you're in Jersey City. So I wanted to know, the Eid celebration that we saw, is it really like that there? Like how was the portrayal there?
No, not at all. Jersey City, it looks nothing like the show. I mean, they did a good job trying with the mural arts and wall art and stuff like that. But like, yeah, that's like Atlanta. That looks nothing like Jersey City. but there are some neighboring towns that have similar festivals. Like Teaneck is a neighborhood that is not too far from Jersey City, probably like 20 minutes. And they have a festival that's very close to that looks a lot like that. It's very wholesome, and it takes place in a park. And it's really, really nice. And my cousins go and they celebrate there. Unfortunately, the only problem with Teaneck is they don't use the calculation. They use the sighting. So sometimes we don't celebrate the same time as the Teaneck mosque. But
so actually, I was gonna say a lot of that kind of celebration that was shown happened the night before or the day before.
Oh, like a genre.
Like a genre, right? Yeah. And I live in Flushing, Queens, and that's literally like a 5-minute subway ride to Jackson Heights. And Jackson Heights is like the primarily Bengali town, and I'm Bengali, so like literally before Eid, it's like the streets are just lined with like people selling stuff to wear and just like literally like not even stalls, like just a portable table set up of women doing mehndi or henna on each other, like $5, $10, and you can just pick a table and get it done. So I would say it was similar to that. Definitely not as pretty, like with the huge Eid Mubarak balloons or anything, but that's what it reminded me of.
That's cool.
Is the show's portrayal of Eid, is it immersive, or does it take you out that it's a little bit different than like your own experiences?
I would say every community celebrates it differently.
Yeah.
But the parts that you don't see is like Eid is, for at least for us like South Asian people, it might be different for like Swana Middle Eastern people. It's kind of like you go from like one cousin's house to the next.
Yeah.
And you eat biryani like 5 times.
You take a nap in the middle of the day. I don't know why, but the Eid naps hits different, man. I don't know what it is. Different
because you gotta wake up early for the prayer. So it's like, then you come home and then you sleep and then go to the next cousin's house. So that's kind of the part you don't see. Like I kind of assumed that the festival part was like in the morning after prayer, because that's kind of what happens, like especially around the mosques.
Yeah,
there will be like stalls and stuff like that, food, breakfast. My mosque always had donuts.
Yeah.
All right. A big portion of episode 2 is does take place in Eid, but it breaks down. I mean, okay, I don't know where to start with this episode. We start off kind of where episode 1 leaves off with like her and her powers and everything. Right. Shout out to Amplified out there on Volume. Amplified says, "I love the cultural insight here." And this is a very cultural show. Do you guys feel like it's easy for people who are not part of this culture to latch onto? Like it's still like pretty easy?
Well, like that's the feedback that I've been getting from my TikToks and my Twitter, because I've been doing a lot of cultural breakdowns on them, and people are saying, wow, this is just adding more fun to what's already a great show. Like, and the thing is, the show doesn't really dumb it down for you. They're like, okay, if you don't get it, find a brown person who will explain it to you. That's kind of really what it is, right? Like, you don't bother explaining to you. They're like, there's one part where she goes, oh, it's the lesser Eid. Like, because of that, there's 2 Eids. And like, somebody probably wouldn't know that. Like, what, the lesser Eid? And that's also like, even within that, it's an inside joke because the lesser Eid is actually the bigger Eid. So she said it ironically, which is funny. And like, there's so many layers to that. And the person probably would not get that joke, but it's enough for you to understand the story, because nothing is hurting the story, but there is a little bit of extra spice to some of these jokes that like, you need to ask somebody about it.
Right, because Bruno says, like, wouldn't we just have Eid? And honestly, like, a lot of people that might be watching the show might have, interacted with Muslims before. They might, or, they might have gone to school with Muslims before. And in that case, you, like, kind of know that there's 2. And a lot of people say, like, well, why are they both called Eid? Eid is just, like, the prefix that means holiday.
Yeah, it's like
but it's actually, it's like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So it's kind of like... if you said, like, it's kind of like the day part of like Halloween day, I guess, or like, I don't know. Okay. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're not really both named the same thing.
I mean, is the most comparable to like a solstice? I know that's not like, because there's 2 solstices a year, like seasonally, right?
No, I don't think it is, because one Eid is called Eid al-Fitr, and that's when you celebrate the end of Ramadan. Okay. And then 2 months later, you celebrate Eid al-Adha, which is about the sacrifice of Abraham and also the beginning of the Hajj, which is like the pilgrimage to Mecca. So those are the 2 differences, and it's done on the lunar calendar, so you find out when the month starts because of a lunar calendar, but it's not like a solstice or anything like that.
Yeah. It's more like it just has that prefix. That's all. It's really more al-Adha and al-Fitr, because I would compare it actually more to like Christmas is Eid al-Fitr, which is the Ramadan one, and then Easter is probably what I'd say. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I do agree that like the show kind of just, they do what they do, and they're like, if you want to figure out, you figure it out, but you're not lost if you don't, right? If you have these questions, they're not big questions where you just like, I can't handle the show at all if I don't understand.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like people are unfamiliar. So in the very first scene, literally the opening scene of the comics, opening scene of the show, when you see Amir praying, you know he's just doing like praying before he eats. Like Christian people do that. They hold their hands and pray before they eat. It's like I don't think they throw anything super unfamiliar in there. And I actually think that that's kind of why they showed Eid celebrated that way, and not like, because nobody wants to see people go from house to house and eat biryani all day. So I guess they like made it look more like a celebration to help the audience understand that this is a holiday, this is a festival.
Yeah. And like,
but actually I would say outside of the US, actually it probably looks more like that. I feel like the jumping from house to house is more of a US thing or Western thing.
What did you think about the how they broke down all the different types of Muslims at the Eid celebration? The Illuminantes, the Harami girls, the pious boys, the mosque bros. What did you think about that?
I loved the mosque bros the most. I'm like, that is so accurate. And I love that like Kamran's like, oh, after school, like go for a drive. I literally said that to my husband, like, that's like every brown guy. They're like, after school, you go for a drive. Yeah, I love that. That was really cute. Now, it's accurate.
As someone who's not well versed in that culture, I mentioned this to Raisa last time, is that like there's so many layers and things going on with this show. There's something that like different groups can get out of it, right? And as someone who doesn't know the mosque and is not Muslim, I'm watching from like a technically outsider's point of view, but at the same time, like there are a lot of like the Illuminantes, like that's everywhere brown. That's that's not just at the mosque. That's like any brown community, and it's like it's up to you on whether you want to like deal with their antics or not. But then you get like really specific at the mosque and whatnot.
Right.
Were there any inconsistencies that you two noticed, or was it pretty spot on?
Honestly, not that I could think of. Like even the stuff like, you know, where they're at the mosque and they have the partition and the women can't hear things. Like, I mean, I'm sad to say, but that's pretty accurate. That's a big complaint a lot of women have at these mosques. And I thought that was pretty accurate. And I didn't find any really big inaccuracies with the religion. I did see some inaccuracies with the comics, but that's like a whole different thing. Yeah. But not so much. I feel like they did a good job with the culture and the religion. And it's not like they're showing it as good representation. They're showing it as authentic representation, right? They're showing what most people go through in these situations. And for the most part, I agree. I feel like it's authentic. I've seen people complain about these things. I've seen people go through these things. I've seen people's shoes get stolen. It happens.
Yeah, I was like, why would she wear those expensive shoes to the mosque?
Yeah.
They're going to get stolen.
Oh, you find out who the shoe thief is, right? The kid the kid who falls off the building, he's the shoe thief.
What? I didn't notice that.
He's wearing
them?
He's wearing her shoes.
Crazy.
I didn't notice that.
Good catch. But as far as the inconsistent, I wanted to actually jump off what Neve said about the women. I made like a TikTok about this because I feel like some people are like, well, you know, in the comics, Nakia's fighting adversaries to her community, like outsiders, gentrification.
Right.
And this is an issue. I feel like they're hinting at her definitely tackling that in the future. But I do think like the sexism in terms of like the treatment of the women's sections of the mosque is very, very real. And it is an issue that's like near and dear to my heart. Because I grew up very religious. I like memorized 2 chapters of the Quran. I'm like very learned actually about Islam and stuff. So part of it has to do, it's kind of like a twisted version of like, actually women actually get more sunnah, which is like, how do I describe what sunnah is? It's like
brownie points with God.
Brownie points with God, right? If they actually stay home for certain prayers and take care of the house, they actually get the same amount of like rewards. Whereas for men, going to the mosque and praying with your brothers is like the extra reward. And that's kind of part of it. But my other point with the inconsistencies is that Amir and his fiance are definitely actually married. They actually probably did their nikah, which is like the Islamic marriage ceremony, because they like touch each other and they hug and stuff. So I'm like, they're not actually probably like just fiancés. They probably just did their like nikah and then they're having a wedding later. Because that's what I did. That's what everybody I know does. They do
that makes sense.
And then they're fiancés because they haven't been like legally married or they haven't like done the wedding, but they have Islamically married.
That makes sense. A lot of people do that. I could see that.
That's a plot point that they've kind of sped up in the show as opposed to the comic. Because in the comic, you wait a little bit and then is her name Taisha? Is that her name?
Taisha.
Yeah.
You find out about Amir and Taisha later in the comics, right?
Right. They meet, I think, with Kamala's help.
Okay. Yeah. And so and that's a big plot point that kind of continues across a certain amount of comics. By the way, shout out to the comics. If anyone wants to go and start from issue number 1, it's well worth it. Like the Ms. Marvel comic, I have literally no complaints from start to finish. Like it's a pretty smooth and great ride.
And it's super easy. It's not like Spider-Man where you don't know where to start. You just literally start from issue 1.
Also, $10 on Marvel Unlimited gets you everything. You can watch literally $10. You can read them all in a weekend, and you can just cancel your subscription and you're good to go. It's that quick.
I would like to say don't cancel the subscription. We'll read other stuff, but if you want that is what it is.
If you want
those subscriptions are well worth it. Like my first week I had DC Universe. I literally read like hundreds of dollars worth of comics. Worth it.
Digital comics are a big thing for anyone out there who's looking to read comics, whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, whether it's indie comics. Digital comics are a great way to do that. What was I was going to bring up the first scene of this episode is Kamala feeling herself. She's just like she's like
with the mace song. I love it.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, Bad Boys from Mace.
Okay. So like she's feeling herself. She it was very endearing, and then she bumps into Kamran, right?
Yes.
How do you guys feel about Kamran in this whole episode? Because I'm like,
oh man. So here's the thing I like about Kamran, right? Because I don't want to spoil it for people, and because I know I read the comics, so I kind of know what happened to the character.
All we will talk about is episode 2, and then what we think, I guess. But it is what it is.
But what I do like about Kamran is that he is a darker skinned South Asian person, and she's super gaga over him. And not so much over Bruno, and and Bruno is kind of pining for her, and I feel like it's a little twist on the old stereotype or trope that they always have, where the brown girl goes for the white guy. It's a little bit of a twist on that because Bruno is pining for her, she's not pining for him, and instead of her trying to shed her culture and try to get proximity to whiteness, Bruno is trying to get proximity to brownness, right? He's celebrating Eid. He's hanging out with the family. He knows what mashallah means. I respect that, man. I was like, I don't like Bruno in the comics, but I'm kind of feeling Bruno.
I was literally saying that. Yeah, I made a video about it. I was like, people don't really like Bruno in the comics, but Bruno, MCU Bruno.
Yeah.
And I told Dimitri last episode, my husband is white, and he was just like that. He literally eats with his hands and blows my family's minds when they eat. And some of my more Western aunties, they're like, you're forcing him to do that. He doesn't need to eat with his hands. And he's like, I can eat with my hands. He eats like a freaking Bengali. He makes a lukna. I don't know if you guys have the same word.
Yeah.
He makes a ball with his rice and everything. So
that's so funny.
Bruno is just like him.
That's going so funny.
Learning a little Urdu, the whole deal. He's a package deal. He would convert for her. He would.
I think so, man. I think he would. I have no complaints for this Bruno, but I do like the switch up, and it's pretty cool. And then He's going for the bad boy, and let's see what happens, man.
You're telling me it's not
But
a
is
Mindy
he-
Kaling show?
No.
But is he a bad boy though? Because I feel like it's like the opposite. He's
Kamala?
like a good, but yeah, he's not really a bad boy. He's
I
kind of
guess
like
not.
He's mysterious.
he's
he's
mysterious.
yeah, he's taking off his shirt and swimming in pools and not observing hijab because men have hijab too.
Yeah, but Muniba would probably prefer that she find a nice Pakistani boy,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Over
yeah.
a
Oh,
white
of course.
guy.
Of course.
There are moments in this show that made me laugh out loud, and I'm like, I want to tweet about this, but I don't want to give up the joke. There is a joke. Okay, so after Kamala is driving with Kamran, they go to the diner or wherever they go, and and Amir and Taisha come in, and
Yes.
like Amir, they have to convince Amir that he's a cousin.
Yes.
And then Amir's like, I remember you. We called you haram.comron.
So I have some info on that joke.
Yeah,
Sagar ad-libbed that joke. That was not in the script.
really.
Yeah, he
What?
ad-libbed
That's
that. Yep.
great. Oh, you just interviewed him, right?
I literally interviewed him today, and he told me that line he ad-libbed. He said there were 4 lines that he had, and there were 4 different jokes that he made for that line, and that was the one they kept, and it was really funny.
It was the line of like, we caught you watching haram things online or whatever.
Online, yeah.
We called
Yep.
you haram.comron.
Yep.
I was laughing so hard at that. It was so good. There were a lot
what's
of jokes
really-
in this episode.
You know what's really funny about that interaction between Kamran and Amir, and like how he's like joking with the accent, and then Amir is just like aloof. That is a very Pakistani stage drama kind of humor, or Bollywood humor. You would see it in like old Govinda movies, and you would see it in like some of these Pakistani dramas. Like that kind of aloofness is a style of comedy that's very common in Pakistan. So I thought that was really cool.
They talk about Bollywood movies a lot, right? Like Kamala and
Yeah.
Kamran bond over that. Do you guys have history or experience with Bollywood movies?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm a
yeah,
big
yeah.
fan.
I
Not so
haven't
much.
watched anything recently, but
Not
for
so
sure.
much recently, but the 90s and early 2000s, like I was really, really into it. And it's really interesting the movie that Kamran brings up, because the movie is called Bazigar, and Bazigar is a Shah Rukh Khan movie, and it's a very, very rare movie because it's one of the only times the protagonist is actually a villain. So he's like a villain / anti-villain. Villain / anti-hero in that movie. And it's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of foreshadowing a lot of things. So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. They're doing a couple different things with the show, so we'll see about that. Maybe it's just a reference. Maybe it's just a reference.
I do. That's a very strange movie to bring up because that's not a movie a lot of people talk about.
I know. I was like, that's a weird. People talk about like Dil Chata Hai, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, and I was like, why are they talking about this random movie?
Yeah. DDLJ was also brought up, which I thought was cool. And then man, people, I like the Bollywood references, and it's really, really cool. And like, what I really liked is that they mentioned Bollywood and they mentioned Kingo from the Eternals.
Okay,
I know.
That was
blew my mind.
I didn't even catch that. My husband was the one that caught that. And he doesn't like watch every MCU movie. I was like, how do you remember that from freaking Eternals? Like, he's not like one of those people that like knows all the details around. He was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that many Bollywood actors. So I was like,
surprised.
You remember Kumail?
I didn't expect them to bring him up, though I should have. I should have put the pieces together that they would have brought him up, especially in this show. Like, but I didn't.
Yeah. No, I actually predicted that. I had a live where I was on TikTok, and I was like, man, I would love to see them mention Kingo's character. But not only did they mention Kingo, they mentioned Kingo's dad.
Kingo Senior.
Kingo Senior.
So they like made like
or Kingo's dad.
Yeah, they made a reference to the joke that like, oh, he has generations of actors that he's playing. And it's just really funny that Kamala had no idea that she's also talking about another superhero.
Right. Well, and she mentioned what Muniba likes Kingo Senior better. Is that who she says her mom likes Kingo Senior, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she said it. I think Gamran said his mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I mean,
likes
there's a lot of
Kingo
questions
Sr.
I have going on there. But the fact that liking Kingo Sr. over Kingo, but they're both the same person.
Yeah. And
So
she says ew, as if they don't look exactly alike.
Right. What do they have, like different mustaches and stuff, I think, in the
Yeah,
poster?
like from the
Mustaches.
style of
Yeah.
the decade
Yeah.
he's playing.
I
in.
wonder how he pulled it off. I still don't know. Because at some point he has to disappear and then pop up
Right.
like 20 years later as the sun. Does he just
Right?
take
It's like Om Shanti Om. It's like kind of like that, right? But I guess he wasn't well known before he's reincarnated.
Yeah.
What's the reference? Is that a movie?
Yeah, you should see it. It's Shah Rukh Khan.
Okay.
And Deepika.
It's really good. Yeah, it's like one of his best, more modern movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
and
outside of the classic, it's really good. Basically, he is like this poor guy trying to become an actor because he's in love with this actress, Deepika, and he dies in a fire saving her life, but is reincarnated as like a baby from the couple that tries to save his life as he's like dying.
Oh.
So because she was pregnant and she like has a baby and it's him. He becomes a super like famous, successful actor and helps get revenge on the guy that kills him and also Deepika. It's like, there's so many twists. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's wild.
You gotta watch it. It's
What's
pretty
it
good.
called?
Om
Om
Shanti
Shanti.
Om.
Okay.
Honestly, like you don't even have to watch it for the plot. Just watch it for Deepika because she's probably like the most beautiful woman in the world. Like she's so gorgeous.
Oh,
But
I'm looking at
she
it right
kills
now.
that role too. Like,
Yeah,
she actually kills the role too.
she's really, really good. She's probably one of my favorite actresses. Like she can act, she can dance, she does it all.
Do you guys watch it with dubs or subtitles?
I watch it with subtitles, but I can
Subtitles.
understand it. I can still understand it, but I do watch it for subtitles because there's always references that I don't catch.
Right.
I don't know the difference. I can't understand it. My parents can a little bit, but Bengali is pretty different from
Yeah,
like
Urdu
Hindi
and
and Urdu.
yeah, Hindi and Urdu are pretty identical in terms of like the way they sound, but they're written completely different.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Urdu uses Arabic characters, right?
Yeah, which is why when Kamala looks at her bracelet, she's like, "Oh, I can't tell if it's Arabic or Urdu because Arabic and Urdu are nearly identical."
Yeah. Basically, like after the partition, like the East Pakistanis or the West Pakistanis were like more religious. They were religious, like very religious in terms of Islam. So they like switched their characters to the Arabic characters.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So they could read the Quran. Yeah, they could like read the Quran in the native characters.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot about the partition. Like that is something
Yeah.
that I knew barely anything about up until you know, TikTok creators like you guys are bringing it up, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm like learning a lot more on TikTok and whatever. Has there been a lot of like questions that people have had about these specific things in the show that they're asking you guys about?
I feel like a lot of people did ask me about the partition. And a lot of people also asked about the dynamic between Kamala's mom and Kamala. And some people have said that she's abusive. And I was like, no. I mean, like, I'm like, come on.
You want to know something? I genuinely believe if she was a white mom, they wouldn't be saying that.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Somebody brought it up that like, how is she any different than like Lizzie McGuire's mom?
Yeah.
Like, a strict mom.
And
so what?
And not just that, but I actually feel like a lot of the blame for the way Muniba treats Kamala like comes from just misunderstandings, like Kamala thinking she'll never say yes if I show her this costume. She'll never say let me go. And I think that's how a lot of young brown girls think, like, oh, like they're never gonna let me go. So the first thought is to sneak out instead of just asking. Because when she asks to go to the Zoe's party, she says yeah.
She's actually not that strict. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she's not that strict. She lets her hang out with Bruno. My husband and I met like at their age. My mom would get mad when
it's so funny because I'm always like, if people feel that way about her mom, they must hate my mom. I was like, my mom is so much more strict.
I watched the first episode with my mom. I watched the first episode alone. Did the first episode show, and I watched it again afterwards with my mom. And my mom was like, I like it, but there are inconsistencies. And I'm like what? And she's like, how come Bruno and Kamala are allowed to be friends?
Yeah. So I know why Bruno and Kamala are allowed to be friends, and like they kind of go into it in the comics, because in the comics, Bruno is actually very, very poor, and he didn't have he couldn't even shower, and he smelled really bad, and Kamala didn't want to be his friend, and her mom literally forced Kamala to be her friend, and I think her mom even paid for Bruno to have activities and to have school stuff, so he could really
go on
just
a field trip or something, right?
Go on a field trip. Yeah, exactly, right? So obviously her mom really cares about this kid, and people are saying oh, a Muslim mom would never do that, but honestly there's two sides. And Muslims are also meant to be generous and supposed to help people, and that's also a big part of being Muslim, not just following the rules, but actually helping people wherever you can, right? So her mom goes out of her way to make Kamala help her, and they're friends since school. So she, I think her mom literally thinks Bruno as her own son.
Yeah.
And Kamala even says when she's trying to plead to go to Comic-Con that Bruno doesn't really have a family. She said it so bluntly, but it's kind of yeah, man, I think Kamala's mom has a soft spot for Bruno, and honestly, I don't think that's out of the realm. I feel like a brown mom would have a soft spot if they ran into somebody who had that tough of a life. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
Right.
I am really hoping they touch on that. Like you said, they hinted about it. They haven't talked anything about his side of the family, and she gives him food or whatever. So I am hoping they touch on that background.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you why she accepts him. And I'll tell you why my mom eventually accepted my husband. And it was because literally we were kids. We were in middle school when we started being friends.
Really?
And yeah, middle school. Yeah. Very long time. And so I kind of always had guy friends, and eventually she just had to get over it. For her, she was just eventually whatever, I can't control this girl having guy friends. And she just knew him literally since he was a baby, a child at 12, 11, 13. So it's just this is kind of my adopted son, or they've been friends for so long. It's I trust this kid. I know this kid.
Yeah.
So that, and he goes out of his way to participate in their culture. He goes to
yes.
He goes out of their way to respect their culture. Yeah. No, he says mashallah. He says salam. He said, you know what I mean?
But not only that, did you see how angry he got when that guy gave Kamala alcohol?
Yeah.
Why the hell would you do that? And he got so mad. Even Nakia didn't even get as mad as Bruno did, right? So Bruno really cares about Kamala. I don't think there's anyone who cares more about Kamala than Bruno. And that's very endearing to see. And I hate the fact that I feel this way about him, but he's such a good character in MCU.
Forget comic book Bruno, okay?
We don't talk about that, Bruno.
We just need to forget about the comic books, because it's it doesn't have to be the same. The comics, it doesn't have to be the same. Just because the comics exist doesn't mean they are going to be the same. You never say about Spider-Man, oh, that's not from the comics. Yeah,
I mean, people do bring that up. People do.
Yes and no. Yes and no, but it's more obviously Endgame and the Infinity War and the stones, it was not adapted exactly. And there's some people that complain, but there's generally an acceptance. And I always say, if I want to read the comics, I'll just go and read the comics. I don't want to see the same exact thing watching these shows. And
Aries,
especially if the change is positive.
Yeah. Aries out there on Twitch. We got a couple of different people watching us on different channels. Right now, we are live streaming to volume.com, twitch.tv, and youtube.com. So we got Amplified out there on volume.com. We got Aries on Twitch saying, we don't talk about Bruno.
That's good. That's good. I can't believe no one said that before. That's good.
And then we got Space Ferret Collectibles on YouTube. I don't know if Space Ferret's still there. I met Space Ferret an hour ago. And he's tuning in and watching the show. So what's up to Space Ferret? What was I gonna say? There's a lot to like about Bruno and this characterization of Bruno, where he is an ally. He immerses himself. He doesn't judge, or at least he's at this place in his relationship with the family that he doesn't judge. I don't know how he was when he was a kid, but he, he's going to Eid. He's going to dress up, go to the mosque and whatnot. But there is still that tinge of jealous guy friend who is quote unquote friend zoned that's kind of throwing me off, where he's just like a little bitter, but he doesn't own Kamala. Like Kamala
That's
can
true.
like who she
No,
wants.
but he's obviously very clearly
Yes.
and deeply in love with her. So when she's pursuing another man, and he probably never pursued her because he knows, like, I'm a white guy, non-Muslim, like this is not going to work.
Yeah.
So he sees this brown Muslim guy come and
Good looking guy
sweep
too.
her off her feet. And it's obviously going to be hard for him. So I'm not, and plus they're like in high school. You got to remember the high school drama mind.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I don't want to think back. I will have nightmares.
Yeah. Also, this guy called him Brian. Like he didn't even.
I know, he was like mean to him. He like remembered all their names except for his.
Yeah. We see Kamran bump into Kamala, and then we hear this whole thing about Zoe and Nightlight, and like Zoe using that for like internet cred. You know?
Yeah.
Is she on TikTok? Is that what they said, or do they just say social media?
They just said video.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's TikTok.
Because they knew.
It's TikTok, right?
I think they know like 10 years from now or something when people are watching. It's like maybe TikTok's not around, you know.
Yeah.
But
right.
It's totally TikTok.
Yeah. But seems like Zoe's kind of eyeballing Kamran, right?
I don't think so.
No.
I think she just invited him to the party, like
because he's popular. Yeah, she probably wanted like
cute.
a cool, popular new kid at her thing, but I don't think she's eyeing them.
Okay, well, I know Zoe in the comics is into somebody else, right?
Yes. I don't know if you want to give it away, but I feel like they're probably going to follow that line of thinking.
Which I don't blame her.
Wait, I like do not remember this from the comics, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It's hard to talk about without giving it away.
Right.
All right, don't say anything.
Well, keep in mind that, like, for anyone out there watching, or even any of us, the comics aren't always the MCU, right?
That's
like,
true.
It's an adaptation. They do new things. Who knows? What if Bruno suddenly, like, I don't know, gets powers? Who knows?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he probably wouldn't, but still, anything can happen.
He can get a Winter Soldier arm.
In
I don't know. He's like a whole engineer, and he did all the lights and stuff for her. Captain Marvel mohawk and the photon gloves, and he's a genius in the comics. He is, and he gets into the Caltech program.
Yeah,
yes,
he goes
does.
to Wakanda.
Yeah. But now he's going to, or maybe go to
Caltech.
For an early immersion program.
A little closer than Wakanda.
Yeah.
A little, yeah.
Where's Caltech supposed to be? California, but like, is it like Berkeley? Is it like, is it Bay Area?
Caltech is where the people from the Big Bang Theory work, right?
But it's not real. There's no Caltech.
It's not real?
Yeah, Caltech as a title is not real.
I thought it was.
we have two Cal Polys, Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. We got Cal, which is Berkeley. Berkeley's known as Cal. So
it's probably they probably just like were like Berkeley's in California. It's far away. Add tech. It's a really good school. Like, I just saw it. I was convinced it was real. I was like, oh, that's a good school. That's for like Berkeley, right?
Yeah, because like they have techs for every college, like Virginia Tech, New Jersey Tech. Yeah. I just assumed they were the Caltech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Is what was funny, what struck out to me was when Zoe invites Kamran to go to the party, and then Kamala's like, we should go to the party. And then and then Nakia, right? That's her name?
Yeah. Nakia.
I think I always say Nakia.
It is Nakia.
It's Nakia.
Yeah.
Nakia is from
Wakanda.
Panther.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's
I was
Nakia,
saying, there's two Nakias or Nakias now, spelled the same way now in the MCU. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then they smile. And Bruno's like, what's going on? What am I missing? And that's
they're totally gonna have those two meet in the MCU and be like, make some stupid joke. I feel like they're gonna do
Really?
it. They do that kind of stuff all the time. They love that stuff.
I'll say this: if they have a white director, they will make a joke. If they have
It's cute. It'd be cute though. It'd be
you
cute.
think so?
Yeah, it'd be cute.
Not just
it's not like Joss Whedon where it's like they'll stick some guy's face in her boobs and like laugh about it. I don't know.
That's Wonder Woman and Flash in Justice League.
Wonder Woman, also Black Widow. I think Mark Ruffalo does the same exact joke.
That's right. In Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Where he falls on her and falls onto her boobs. Literally the same joke.
Ironically, Age of Ultron did not age too well.
No, not at all. Not at all. We see Kamala. So we're at mosque. We see all the different people, and we're learning a little bit more about her past, which we'll go into. But we see Kamala finally go to rescue the kid who.
That was so funny. The ice cream meme.
Ice cream pizza.
But you know what? The mosque kids, they're just like that kid. That would happen.
Yeah,
that would happen.
Legit.
With the ice cream pizza part or the falling out of the window part?
Taking the pictures, stealing the shoes, falling out the window. They would do that.
Once the parents take their kids to the mosque, they like no supervision. There's like no thing. They go nuts.
And they always do some crazy, crazy, stupid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody will get stuck in a basketball hoop or something.
Yeah. Sorry, it reminded me of when Nakia says that her shoes were stolen. What is the other girl that's like a random girl that like...
Oh, she goes, the shoe thief strikes again.
Yeah. There's so many little parts in this episode that I just can't get over. Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
I might be jumping ahead. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Neebs. You go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I might be jumping ahead. But like you were mentioning Zoe, and I feel like the conversation with Zoe, because we know in the comics, she starts out as a bit of an adversary and then becomes, one of Nakia's closest friends. We already see, I thought the actress did such an amazing job in that interview scene.
Yeah.
The interrogation where you can just see the like,
oh no,
regret and like just like the shock and like the sadness in her eyes when they start talking about the mosques. Like, oh,
Zoe's
is she
not
South
bad,
African?
Right?
Yeah, she's like, oh shoot, like they're gonna totally racially profile my friends. They're gonna racially profile the people in my community. And you see that in her eyes. Yeah.
I tweeted that like this episode made me laugh. It made me gasp. It made me like afraid. That scene made me afraid. Yeah. Whoever this main guy is on these two, there's the white lady and then there's him. He was like,
he's probably of the community. I kind of seemed to imply.
Yeah,
right?
He's Iranian. Yeah. Okay. It's so what I really liked about that scene is like it was very meta because when they said that like, oh, the FBI is surveillancing them anyways, that's a reference to real life stuff that happened in New York actually, where the NYPD were surveilling mosques for years without people's consent, without people's knowledge, using the Patriot Act. And that was a real thing that actually happened in New York, and the Muslim community like they sued the NYPD for it.
Yeah, and then not just not just New York, like the actual federal government would plant people in mosques. Usually you can tell. Actually, there's like running jokes at mosques. Like my cousins have like running jokes like, this is how you know it's a plant. This guy's a plant. Or I don't remember, like, I feel like I watched, when I was introducing they kind of already knew him, but my husband, they were like, they're going to think you're a plant. Just don't talk to anybody. They're going to think you're a plant. Because he's like a white guy.
In the show Rami, there's a guy who goes like, "Salam alaikum, peace be upon you, brother." He was like, "That's a plant." Nobody says salam and peace be upon you. It means the same thing. He's Dominican. He's not even Arab. Like, it's such a funny scene.
Rami's such a weird show. It's like 2 seasons, right? And but yes.
And like Mia Khalifa's in it. I don't know how he got her on there.
Well, Mahershala Ali is in it.
That's a big cat.
Yeah.
I am such a big fan of Mahershala Ali. Like he could be in anything and I'll watch it.
Anything.
His assistant has a TikTok.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, his assistant with him in it. Like they're just talking on her TikTok.
Oh, I think I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
I think I've actually seen that. Yeah. It's gone viral. Yeah.
That scene made me scared. It was just like that lady. Oh man, I hate her. I hate her already.
I love that actress. She's in
I met her.
Orange
She was at the screening. I got a picture with her and everything.
She's in Orange is the New
The
Black.
white cop?
Yeah,
the
white lady. Yeah.
She's in Orange is the New Black, and she's really good in that. But I'm loving her so far in this role. She's got the look. She's got the like acting chops. I'm loving it.
But you love to hate.
I'm gonna have
right?
to say,
Is that what it is?
Love to hate.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say that scene, I felt like it made me kind of hopeful in the sense that first we have this antagonist that is also within the community, right? The Iranian guy who may or may not in the future advocate for them. But also like with Zoe, it's like, it's this foreshadowing that the community is gonna rise up. Even the people that are not Muslim or brown in their community in Jersey City are gonna come to this group's defense. And that's not something we always see when it comes to the Muslim community. Like for the longest time, especially like when my mosque had stuff like this, like there was one time like a guy that would like camp out in front of it with like a gun and video cameras because he would like surveil the like potential terrorists and stuff. You know what I mean? Like people are not always like willing to come to the support of the community. Like they're not always willing to defend Muslim people. So I felt like there was a glimmer of hope in that scene, like in the sense that we see that there's going to be support for that community.
Yeah. Kamala's background, her history. I'm confused on Kamran's relationship with Kamala. I
thought he was her cousin for a second. I was like, why were they like
you mentioned in the first episode, and I'm like,
but I rewatched it and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's just a ruse. They're lying just so they don't get in trouble for.
No. I thought because not from that because
Aish?
When he introduced when I was I don't think that was Aisha.
I thought that was because she came to her in a vision.
In the vision, but that's not her.
Is that
no?
They look a little similar.
No. Aisha is played by what's the name? Mavish Hayat. I think that was the actress in the car, but I don't think we've seen Aisha yet. I don't think Aisha's been shown yet.
Right, like maybe the lady in the vision wasn't Aisha.
Yeah,
wasn't the
but
great grandmother.
The car is Aisha?
No. The lady in the car is Kamran's mom. The lady in the vision was also Kamran's mom. That's a actress named Samina Ahmed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's actually a very popular Pakistani actress, like super popular.
Okay.
That's cool. But the reason is because when I was at the premiere, the volume was kind of trippy. Like it was kind of hard to hear, especially because the audience was like yelling a lot, like in support. So like when he said, "This is my mom," I thought he said, "This is your aunt," and I was like, "Wait, like
no."
And I was like, "Are they related?" I was confused. But yeah, I don't think they're related.
It looks like Mystery Woman is a character named Najma.
Yeah, Najma. Yep, that's Kamran's mom.
She did appear in the vision, and then she was in the car, but it's not Aisha. Okay.
Yeah. We haven't seen Aisha yet. Aisha is going to be played by a very, very famous Pakistani actress.
Okay.
So you know what needs under that video I made where I was saying it's probably hard to get these actors, but they did pull from the Pakistani acting community quite a bit.
But that's because Sharmeen is from Pakistan. Like I feel like if Bisma was doing it by herself, it'd be a lot more difficult. Sharmeen is like
Bisma.
So Bisma is the showrunner. So she was actually one of the writers for Loki, and then she was made the showrunner of the show. So she's like the main HBIC. Sharmeen is a 2-time Academy Award-winning Pakistani director who usually makes documentaries. She doesn't make shows like this. She's made 2 documentaries, and she is from Pakistan and she's won Oscars. But she lives there, so she knows these actors, she knows these celebrities, and that's how they were able able to get these people. I think that makes it a little bit easier. It's like a pool that they were able to really, tap into.
What I'm referring to, Dimitri, is like, I made a video basically saying that I understand why some of the cast is not Pakistani Muslim people. Because I'm sure within the South Asian community, becoming an actor is not exactly encouraged.
Right.
And especially in the Muslim community, it's like not a halal job. And I was like, where are they going to find a young hijabi Pakistani Muslim girl like to actually play Nakia?
And be Turkish.
Right, like exactly. I think they're going to change her background. That's what I was saying. Like they had the mirror conversation in front of the mirror, and she was saying, "Oh, I wasn't, ethnic enough."
White or
so
not?
It seems like she is going to be white, half something else.
Because the actress is half white.
Correct. So I think they are going to change her background to match the actress's background.
What is the character? What's Nakia in the comics?
Turkish. Yeah, she's full Turkish.
And Yasmin Fletcher is half something. I don't
Lebanese.
know.
Yeah, half Lebanese or something.
Okay.
But she is not Muslim. I think she's like
Christian
or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But basically that's what I was saying is like I'm okay with like some actors being close enough. Like I was saying, like it's not the same as like when they cast Japanese people to be Chinese.
Right.
We're very close knit. I was saying like my parents or my dad he was Pakistani at one point, and my grandfather was Indian at one point. Like we're literally still racially very, very close. So I'm like, just knowing how scarce Muslim actors are in general, like I'm not that upset about some of the actors not being Muslim or not being exactly Pakistani. But it does seem like they pulled from the Pakistani acting community quite a bit. And there were people saying like, well, they could have cast Shah Rukh Khan. It's like Shah Rukh Khan costs more than Robert Downey Jr. Like I don't think you guys understand. Like Shah Rukh Khan was one of the highest paid actors in the world. What about Amitabh Bachchan? Like, they're not going to cast these huge Bollywood actors. That's insane.
Yeah.
No. You brought up Chinese to Japanese, but like, I don't know if you guys know Star Trek, but there's a character called Khan Noonien Singh.
Yeah. He's Wrath of Khan.
Right, Wrath of Khan. He's played by Ricardo Montalban. Who was a Mexican actor. And so, like, it's just the weird... Hollywood used to do the weirdest things. I think we're lucky...
Right.
And it's not perfect. But we are lucky now that we have even a Miss Marvel show that they've gathered the actors that they have.
And
they can honestly, be better, but still...
But here's the thing, right? For me, I feel like if you have Muslims behind the writer's room and production, like you can cast non-Muslims and make sure things are handled properly. If you don't have any Muslims on staff and then you hire somebody who isn't Muslim, that's very problematic because they could do things that wouldn't make sense. They'll be praying in ways that won't make sense. They'll be saying things that don't make sense. And we see it all the time on Netflix. Like Netflix is notorious for doing this. But like, for example, I saw this show called Midnight Mass with Rahul Kohli. The best Muslim representation I've ever seen, right? And he's not Muslim, but they went out of their way to hire consultants to make sure that everything he does and everything he says is aligned with what a Muslim would do. And I feel like when you hire people to do that, like it makes it okay in my book. Like you still hired Muslim people, you still had background check. Just because the actor isn't of that race, or that religion, it's fine because you did your due diligence. Like it's nuanced. Like it's not always.
I do feel like a lot of those complaints are like a lot. First of all, people find something on Twitter and just latch onto it. Like the thing about Muniba's hijab, one person has to tweet it and then everybody is suddenly an expert on the comics. Like literally just go to a freaking comic book store and just open the freaking comics. And so like I was literally saying that, but it's I feel like a lot of it is like those non-brown, non-Muslim people, like white savior types. Who are like saying that, but it's like, have you asked a Muslim Pakistani person like if they care? Because if a Pakistani girl played me in a movie, honestly, I wouldn't care. It's like it's pretty similar. It's close enough.
I was having a conversation with a future guest of the after show, Maria, She's on TikTok, and so we were talking about like, would like as a Sri Lankan, would I play other South Asian characters, and because I act and I live in Orange County and I do theater, and there's never been a Sri Lankan character for me to play in a play. Would I play other, again, non-Sri Lankan characters? Or I anyways play like nondescript characters or whatnot. But like you brought up Neeb's Rahul Kohli, and like what makes him that case different is that like respecting what you're doing and researching and like portraying it, and you're right, having the people behind the scenes in the writing and production that are doing their part to make sure that it's not a Halloween costume of a character.
Right.
But at the same time, you can still have that respect and it still be offensive in the sense that like if you cast like a Puerto Rican person just because they have the same shade of brown, you know what I mean? Like they did with Dune, literally cast like the most like a black person, a Maori person, a Hawaiian person, and a Mexican person. As long as they all had that same shade of brown, they were all the same race.
Was that what it was in Dune? They were just doing
literally. Well, first of all, that I have so much to say about Dune. First of all, it's literally a race based on like Islam, based on Islam, and based on like she wears like this whole thing that's like this whole outfit that's like based on Arab and Desi like outfits and stuff, and you cast Zendaya black like a black way, like you know what I mean? Like if they're not doing that, like we're still the same race, like we're really truly like the same race. It's not the same as like casting a Korean person as a Japanese person because they're not really the same.
Yeah,
right.
We actually are like in recent history very, very much the same population.
No, because the thing with us is we share an ancestry, right? And like, for example, like a person from Punjab, Pakistan, and a person from Punjab, India is closer than a person from Punjab, Pakistan, and a person from like the Hunza Valley or in the Swat region. Like they're so much more closer to somebody from India than they are somebody from their own country. And
but like, even just in India, right? North Indians and South Indians are so different. Like there's so many cultures there, right?
Yeah.
But we are still close-knit in a way. Like it's not, you know, because I mean, we know that there's colorism, especially in Hollywood and stuff like that. So like, but I was telling Dimitri last episode, like if they cast a dark-skinned North Indian person to play a South Indian person, most people will be like, yeah, that's fine. So where's the line, right? Like, where's the line? Like Bangladesh is literally like this, and then India is just around it. So we're like, so it's like, we're like a separate as an ethnic group, but you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't really care if a Pakistani girl played me.
Right. You both brought up the weird internet like thing about Muniba being abusive. I don't know, you guys didn't bring that up specifically, but like it was reminding me of like you guys know what I'm talking about on TikTok when people are like Muniba this and she's abusive and blah blah blah, and like I guess we kind of touched on it earlier, but I was listening to that and I feel like we've gotten a lot of not episodes, movies and content about like Everything Everywhere All at Once or Turning Red or Encanto even, right? Talking about that family dynamic, but then now we have people hopping on in a weird
literally
way.
It's so mild too, like it's not nearly at the level as Everything Everywhere or like but if it's a brown lady, like she's abusive. If it's a Muslim lady, she's abusive.
Exactly.
It's darker people are more aggressive, right? It's like, stop yelling at me, why are you trying to, oh no, I thought they were gonna attack kind of mentality,
right? And it's also like how we speak to each other, right? Like Muniba's mom is very blunt. So when she goes like, "Oh, don't you trust me?" She goes, "No." Like for white people, that's like, "Whoa, how could she say that?" For us, it's like, "Yeah, my mom says so much worse." Like,
Yeah.
calm down.
Like Desi humor is just different. Like Desi family dynamics is just different. Like, I mean, my dad like cusses me out in Bengali, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not the same as if he was like an American guy and he was calling me like a son of a B word. It's not the same
a different
thing.
Context. There's a nuance to it. It's just a different.
There's no malice behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas if an American dad did say that to their kid, there's malice behind it.
Right.
But for him, it's just like another nickname, kind of.
Comparable would be like if you call someone just like, "You dummy," versus "You fucking idiot." Like, it's just a different. It's a different connotation. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic. And it's funny because like I feel like I said this in one of my TikToks, like there is a lot of love between Kamala and her mom, but they just don't understand each other. And when people don't understand each other, it doesn't mean the love isn't there. It just means the love is misplaced somewhere.
Yeah, it's generational. And like in the comics, her parents are the ones that are holding her secret. You know, her parents are the ones that ultimately are like, you know what, in Islam, when you save one person, you're saving all of mankind. You're saving a lot of people. This is halal. This is good. And they're teaching her that. And they are supportive. And I just find it hard to believe, like, you've never had like a religious mom. Like, you know, white people have religious moms. They have strict moms. Yeah. It's just...
I mean, there's crazy strict religious white people in America, and they're very powerful, and their voting is really apparent of like how they feel. Like it's. I'm pretty sure that you guys know that you guys have these crazy people like in your culture too, like your white culture, whatever it is. But like, I don't know why when it's a brown person, it flips a switch on people, and it's so much. They make it so much worse than it is.
Right.
But if you think about it, it's like, did she even do anything at that level? Okay, so she said her kid can't go off alone without her dad.
Right.
Yeah.
She just believes her kid should dress modest at a young age. You know, like obviously Muslim standards of modesty are stricter than other standards, but Kamala didn't even show her the costume. She just assumed that Muniba would think
she was imagining like Zoe's costume. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, right? Her mom wasn't wrong, because like when she's looking at herself in the mirror, she's looking at how tight it is. She puts on the scarf around her waist on her own. Nobody asked
because she knew that was going to be the pain point, right?
Yeah, like it's one of the things. I think deep down she is not one of those girls who wear skimpy outfits, just like her mom says. Like that's not who you are. And deep down, she's trying to compromise. She's like, I want to do this thing. I want to do this cosplay, but I also don't want to be in these clothes. So like she puts that scarf on, and to her, that's a little compromise. And I can totally relate to that, because for me, I don't drink alcohol, right? And I don't like being in places that house alcohol. But all my friends weren't Muslim, so they would always go to bars, they go to clubs. And for me, the compromise would be, hey, I won't go to these places, but I will be the designated driver and drive them home. And that was like a way for me to kind of feel good about having to go to these places where I shouldn't be going, right? It was a compromise for myself. And I think that Kamala was doing the same thing. She was like making a small compromise. And I think like, I really like the fact that she did that whole scene with like no words, no action, just like a few facial expressions. And I'm surprised how good of an actress Iman Vellani is, because that was a really great
zero background, with zero. Yeah. She came from literally nothing, ground up. My gal.
I tell people like they didn't cast Kamala Khan, they found Kamala Khan.
They found her, and I was kind of worried. Like I was like, are they gonna make her like this aloof teenager? No, she's freaking on point. She's on point. She gave a voice to this character that was just pictures in my head. But you know, Neebs, you were saying like you don't drink alcohol, and I feel like white Americans, and I guess just Americans in general, or just Westerners, have only seen this narrative. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying if you're written by Mindy Kaling, like your experience is wrong, because it's not.
Sorry to Mindy Kaling. If you ever want to,
we love you, girl. Like,
if you want to come on the show, I would love to interview you.
But there's also, people just can't wrap their head around this fact that not every like brown Muslim girl wants to dress skimpy and wants to drink alcohol. Like Kamala is in touch with her faith, is in touch with her culture, and she, you know, some of us don't want to go date like I did, but some of us
don't want to. I do. Some of you don't.
Okay, he's Bengali inside for sure. Okay,
sure.
He was born
if he's
to
eating
the
that
wrong
much
parents.
biryani, maybe. You know?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like there's two sides. There's many sides. There's kids that do want to go out and defy their parents and, you know, experiment with alcohol or experiment with wearing skin, like, you know, revealing clothing. Who doesn't? And it's not like we didn't have like girls with perfectly like non-conservative parents come to school and change into like butt shorts. Like they did that.
Yeah.
So it's like that exists. It's on all spectrums of people.
Right.
But Kamala is someone that just doesn't. She doesn't feel the need to drink alcohol. She didn't chug that thing of orange juice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She did put a scarf around her, and her costume was covered. Like she didn't go wear a skimpy one. So
yeah.
There aren't only Mindy Kalings in the world.
Oh. Where was I? Where do we think this show is going? Do we have any ideas on like episode 3 onwards? They went through a lot in episode 2 talking about how like somebody disappeared, somebody found their way back to the train somehow.
Right.
I feel like, is there going to be time travel involved? Because part of me in my head, when they do this in stories, it's like, oh, you were the person who went back in time and helped them onto the train kind of situation. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if that's the case. I feel like we were going to get a flashback. I don't know if we're going to get an actual time travel.
Yeah, I think she's going to see through her bracelet or whatever. Mm-hmm. The previous owner. I'm convinced that Aisha had the powers first.
Yeah,
that she's gonna see the previous owners of her powers or whatever.
Because the rumors are that like she killed a man, she ran away with the man, and what was another one? There was like,
she had a whole nother family,
and she had a whole nother family, and she was cursed. And it could be that she was a Cree or something, and
that's what people are. That's a big theory that it's a Cree technology. That's a big theory,
which would not be that far from the Inhuman storyline.
Yeah. So. Agree, and they're gonna do Secret Wars.
I mean,
so Kevin Feige
said that they're gonna do Secret Wars.
They're gonna do Secret Wars, but Kevin Feige actually just came out. People were like, you know, why did you change your powers? And when Kamala's books came out, they were pushing Inhumans big time. The whole Terrigen thing, okay. Mm-hmm. And so he was saying, like, she came out at a very specific, very particular part in comic than the Marvel timeline.
Yeah.
And Kamala is at a different part of the Marvel timeline. Yeah. So I don't know where her powers come from, but
I don't know. Daddy Feige knows what to do. I trust in him.
You think they're gonna bring in Kree, or they could bring in Eternals?
I don't know if they'll turn into Eternals. I guess I see them going more the Kree route.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially
the stars thing. The stars, like she looked up at the stars.
Not only that, but like it matches better with the Marvels, right? Because she's going to be in the Marvels, and Captain Marvel has a big history with the Kree, right? So I feel like that's going to be like matched up together, and it's probably going to be a big plot point in the Marvels.
But Monica isn't Kree related though.
No.
Yeah, she isn't. I don't know.
She's Wanda related.
Yeah, she's Wanda related.
But she is related to Carol's like socially, right? Like they know each other.
Yeah.
And then Kamala is probably related to Captain Marvel through powers. So one's related through like actual knowing and having a relationship.
Or maybe she's just gonna call herself Miss Marvel, and then she's gonna take notice, I guess. Like that's how it happens in the comics, right? She just takes notice.
She just comes in. She just comes in and goes, "I like your costume, but I don't know about the name." And then they end it right there.
But I forgot what I was gonna say. Have you guys read Runaways?
Yeah.
Okay. What was
Don't
the
think I read
girl's
them.
name? The girl with like the sparkly powers.
Carolina
I forgot her-
Dean.
Carolina and
She's-
her
Oh, yeah.
girlfriend and her
Nico.
girlfriend.
Nico is her girlfriend. Or
No,
well,
no.
Oh.
The Kree guy, the Skrull guy,
the Skrull. Zavin.
or the Skrull person.
Yeah, Zavin.
Yeah. That's kind of, she kind of reminds me a little bit of Carolina, and because
Okay.
she's not Kree, is she?
She's Majestanian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's the
Yeah.
like the species doesn't pop up past Runaways. I think the
Yeah.
species has only popped up in Runaways. At least.
But the significant other is a Skrull.
The Skrull, yeah.
Not much related there. I thought there was something there.
I mean, there's a lot that they could draw from. They could change things. They can do whatever they want. The MCU has full reign on everything that they want to do. You know?
Yeah. And now that there's the multiverse, you can really just do whatever you want.
I hate it. I hate that.
You hate that?
I hate that logic. That's why, like, I've always been like hesitant of the multiverse stuff, because people are like, well, Aunt May's dead. Just grab Aunt May from another timeline. Great. Boom.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Nothing matters. You know?
That's the other thing. Like, they killed so many people in Multiverse of Madness just for shock value, but it doesn't matter because they're not from our universe.
Not only did
I know.
Not only did they not matter, two characters that have growth in Multiverse of Madness, Baron Mordo and Christine Palmer, are not our Mordo or our Christine. So their growth matters nothing. Because they're not part of our universe.
No.
So it's like, who cares?
But I wouldn't mind seeing a variant of, like, even if it's just a cameo, a variant of Kamala Khan with authentic inhuman powers. That would be a cool little Easter egg. That would be
I
cool.
feel like they're too scared of it. Well, I guess they've already brought in Black Bolts in a way. So but I feel like just that they failed so hard in the comics and with the TV show with Inhumans, because nobody freaking likes them, okay?
I don't like them.
We talked about it already. Nobody freaking likes them.
But I thought you stood up for Black Bolt. Didn't you stand up for Black Bolt?
Yeah, people really like Black Bolt, and Kamala was like, "That's my dude," or not Iman. Iman was like, "That's my dude." I don't like the way he got done.
Yeah. In a perfect world,
but
they would have done
like,
it
he's
great.
cool. He's cool, but just the Inhumans, just the whole concept's boring.
Yeah, the whole
like,
concept. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to hear my theory? You're gonna hate it.
What's your theory?
I think it's a solid theory with Multiverse of Madness. Okay.
Okay.
I think because we saw what was it, 828 Wanda?
Yeah. Rough,
So this Wanda, our Wanda, completely irredeemable because she killed that many people. Like, she's just irredeemable. I don't think she's secretly alive. I think she's gonna be gone. Like, there's no way that she could come back and not be a freaking war criminal, you know?
Okay.
I think they're gonna replace her with the 828 Wanda or 838 Wanda.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm convinced. And wait. And that Wanda is gonna be, they're gonna backtrack on their whole like anti-Semitic thing. That Wanda is going to be a Romani Jewish daughter of Magneto.
That's what I want.
I'm putting my money down. That's my
I feel like they might do it, but not for the 818 one. Like, I feel like she is probably, like, she's got the Fantastic Four gonna come after her. The Fantastic 3 is gonna come after her. The X-Men is gonna come after her.
It's gonna be Fantastic Four. Oh, you mean in the other universe?
Yeah, in that universe.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she pretty much made that other guy into spaghetti.
Yeah.
But it's just that, like, they made such a huge point of like showing her in the way that we saw Wanda in WandaVision. Like, this is the Wanda that we know and love. Do you know what I mean? And they made such a point of making her like a hero.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting rid of Wanda. Like, there's no way.
I don't like grabbing people from the multiverse because it ends up that, like...
I feel you, but it's the only fix.
They'll bring her
for
back
the
to
whole,
life
like, oh, she's actually a Christian thing. That was weird because, like, it's not that they were like, oh, you know, we're not going to talk about her not being Jewish. They, like, straight up, like, were like, put a cross on her bedroom and everything. And, like, we're like, actually, she, like, that whole mess up. It's a fix for that.
Yeah.
And they have the Fox properties now.
Yeah.
And it's a fix for there's just no way to bring back this Wanda, like our Wanda. She's a psycho. She killed so many freaking people.
Yeah,
But
the thing is,
there's
like,
just no way.
I also don't love the fact that she died from rocks. like that doesn't make sense either.
That's
Like,
stupid.
she needs a better death.
I think we're gonna see. Okay. New theory. Okay. I think we're gonna see her as the rocks are falling or whatever. Her pull 838 Wanda out of a freaking portal or something.
To what? Like she doesn't.
I don't know. I'm Kevin Feige right now. Okay.
Okay.
I'm in the writer's room. That's what I'm throwing up.
All I gotta say is, I'm glad they didn't mess up Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Because they could have a lot.
And the thing is, I think the best thing they did was they got the right people behind the scenes, and they got Sana producing it, and like you know, it was a lot of work, man. And what's the name? Was it Bisha? She is a pretty good showrunner, man. Like she, she made the entire time loop or the timeline, like how the whole timeline was done in Loki. She did that whole thing. She broke out everything. It was all her. And like they just got good people behind the scenes.
I love how many women we've got on the team. Like, Muslim, but just like women.
Yeah, they were talking about, I went to the screening and they were talking about how they would go to something called Video Village, and it would be all women in that entire room, no men. And they're like one day they just looked at each other and were like, whoa, there's like no men here. And I was like, well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not even just that they didn't mess up. Like, I know obviously people have their issues with Nakia's character, but beyond that, there's so much stuff that they're just doing better. Like we've talked about Bruno. Bruno's just better. Yeah. And I think Amir also is much better too.
Yeah, I agree. I actually talked to Sagar and I was like, we like your Amir better. And he says he was better. Like, what did he say? He says that like there were things that he wanted to bring to his character and just make him like more kind and nicer. And you know, the Amr in the comics is like it took him too long to get to that stage because he's really just like so focused on being religious that he like doesn't really what's the word? He doesn't like pay attention to other stuff like getting a job, doing this, right? It's one of those things, and like Thagger changed that a little bit with his character. And
he's cartoony. He's like too cartoony, you know, in the comics, which is okay for a comic media.
Sure.
For that medium, that's fine. But, you know, that doesn't translate well to live action. And I agree that he was like overly religious. And I feel like the comics made him the butt of a joke, like always the butt of like his religiosity was always the butt of the joke. But they're really respectful in the show where it's like he is a man of faith that is really, you know, strongly connected to his faith, but he's not like a zealot.
Yeah, exactly.
And he actually has a relationship with Kamala that's like heartwarming.
Yeah, he's not out there haram policing people, right? And I think that's what makes him really enduring.
Yeah.
He was the haram police in the comics. He
was, right?
He was.
One last thing, at least that I can come up with that I wanted to ask you before we get going. When Nakia talks to Yusuf at the mosque at Eid for his vote, how did you guys feel about that? Because I was like, is she being too tough on him, or is it being played for laughs? Because I laughed, and I was like,
no, because I did the same thing.
Which
part?
My
uncles. That's how I would talk to my uncles. I'd be like, so you hate women and brown people, and so you don't support women's rights? Like, so what are we talking about here? I would constantly do that to my uncles, constantly, and I still do.
Okay,
that was funny.
I would, all the time. I'd be like, so you don't support democracy? You don't support women's rights?
Right.
That's constantly I would talk to him like that.
I felt bad for Yusuf though. He's like, Rashid is my best friend. And then
who cares? Okay, so that was like another thing. If it's a board, is there only one seat up for election?
I think so.
Yeah, they said only one seat was open.
Oh, I feel like, you know what's gonna happen? I feel like she's gonna lose, but they're gonna be like, actually, we need like women on this board and open a seat for her.
Yeah. You know what I really like about that? One of the things that like we get a lot of stuff for is that like women can't be imams. And this is a great demonstration that like an imam doesn't have as much hierarchy that people think. He's not like a priest.
Yeah, he's not like a priest.
All he does is lead the prayer and does like a lecture. But like board members actually have more power. They can remove an imam. So for Nakia to get this seat at the board, she would have more power than an imam. And I feel like if they can demonstrate that and show that, that would be a really cool thing to show a white audience and say, by the way, like women can have higher ranks than an imam. He's literally just reading the prayer because women cannot lead prayers for the sake of modesty. Because, you know, like, for example, like if you go into a yoga studio and let's just say anybody's allowed to come to this yoga studio and no one's ever allowed to get kicked out of this yoga studio. Are women going to be comfortable bending over in front of anybody who can come there, right? No. And that's one of the reasons where like women pray behind men because it's for modesty. It has really very little or almost nothing to do with like any kind of hierarchy. And I feel like Nakia getting that seat at the board would be a good demonstration of that.
And imams are actually, they're just learned members of the community. They're just people who have memorized the Quran and they know a lot about how to lead a prayer and they know a lot about Islam historically, like archaeologically, that kind of thing. Like they've spent their life. It's like a PhD in Islam. And imams are always hired by the mosque, like by the board of the Islamic Center or whatever you have. Like they're not like, it's not like a priest where it's like you're leading a congregation. It's not the same thing.
Right.
That is a worthwhile distinction to make because I feel like a lot of people get it lost, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I like that he has a relationship with Kamala and like knows who she is and like because in the comics she goes to him a lot and asks for his guidance.
The imam.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She goes to him and asks for his guidance and asks for his wisdom and his you know like advice.
Yeah. The imam is actually played by the actor who played Rami's uncle in Rami, which is like a complete different type of character.
Oh, Rami's uncle?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm trying to remember what he looked like. I forget. But yeah, I remember the character.
Yeah.
And then you have, is it May Kalamawi? In
Kalamawi, yeah. Yeah.
From Rami, you know?
I knew I recognized her from something. I never watched Rami, but I knew I recognized her from something.
Rami is one of those shows that I do not recommend to people, but I recommend to people. It's like it's a good show, but it's only for some people.
There's one, like, I mean, there's a couple of things, but there's like one specific thing that I feel like turns a lot of people off with his cousin. And I feel like that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's other things. There's a lot of weird things.
Is it edgy? I don't like edgy stuff.
It's very edgy and it's very like crude humor. And there's a lot of stuff that'll just make you really mad on that show.
Oh, dude, the end of it's season 2, right? With Mahershala.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
I was so mad. And it's like I get it. He's a flawed character, but like doesn't he got to be that flawed?
That was really flawed. That was really bad. Ew.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
is he like the guy Mindy Kaling?
No. Actually, no. And the other thing is, a lot of Rami is written by women. Surprisingly, I think her name is Sarah Jahani. She wrote a lot of the more controversial episodes of Rami. And
maybe
like
she's just edgy.
I no, because like the thing is like these women know a lot of men who have done a lot of bad things, and they're like, all right, we're gonna make Rami do a lot of bad things.
Okay, so he's like an Odysseus type character,
I guess.
What? How is he Odysseus?
Like flawed, just like the main character's not a good guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Rami,
right?
Always,
that's like Odysseus.
I don't know. I know Odysseus, but like I'm trying to figure out whether that fits. But Rami
well, he does he like cheat on his wife or whatever?
No. Odysseus is completely faithful.
No, because he goes to the plays. All right, we're not going to talk about ancient.
Greek mythology here. Rami is always like he's presented with a choice that the audience is like, this is the right choice, but the harder choice, and this is the wrong choice or the easier choice, and Rami always takes the wrong choice. The easier choice.
Yeah.
He'll
I
just
would say
always
that's a
do it.
fair assessment.
Yeah.
Fair assessment.
And the lesson is the right choice is the harder choice. But he will never do the harder thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like in his mind, he thinks he's the good guy.
Yes.
And that's the part that gets people.
Yes.
It's like, Rami, you're not a good person.
No.
Odysseus does cheat on his wife, by the way. He cheats with Calypso in addition to Circe.
Is he hypnotized?
Yeah, when he it's like the Percy Jackson scene. Like
he's hypnotized though. That's not his fault.
He's not hypnotized, he's just stuck there.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Yeah, he's just stuck there.
I thought
it's not like the Percy Jackson scene where they like eat the flower and then they like messed up. Okay. No, he cheats on her and stuff, and he's like bad.
All right, I'll have to look into that because I haven't.
I guess he is not that bad. I just remember that he cheated on his wife. To be honest,
Rami's worse. I'll tell you that. Rami's gonna be worse.
I don't know what character you mentioned, but whoever he is, Rami's worse.
So he's basically like, he's supposed to be like that brown guy that we all know that is shitty.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But thinks they're good.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, the Mosque Bros.
Kind of.
Like the Mosque Bros.
Dude, you know what just happened to me? Speaking of Mosque Bros, this one guy, I did a thing about Miss Marvel, and like this one guy wrote like this whole long ass paragraph about like why it's so haram and why it's so wrong. You know what his screen name was? It was King Circle Jerk.
I just block those people.
Irony.
Like sometimes, like, you know, like I watch a lot of like, and I'll talk about like hadiths and stuff in TikTok comments, and they'll be like, "One look at your profile, you shouldn't be talking about Islam." Like, why? Because I'm not a hijabi. Like, that's it. How many surahs you memorized?
It's so weird. The thing is, like, women get it so much worse, which is literally why I do a lot of these Miss Marvel stuff, because I'm like, if women do it, they're gonna get attacked. So I was like,
you know what? Like, I feel like crap, because that's why I don't tag any of my stuff like Muslim or Islam. Like, I can't. Yeah, I just can't. Like, because those haram police guys that hate women with a burning passion.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's probably the same. Like, if you tag something Christian, you'll probably get the same. You know what I mean?
I mean,
but
sure. There are women haters all over TikTok, regardless. And you know, there's the specific subcultures of women haters.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like I just can't tag it with anything. Even when I'm talking about my faith, I'm talking about my culture. Like, I can't tag. Like, I'll be like hashtag Muslim, delete. Like, and I'm like, wait, this is gonna attract the haram guy, like haram police.
Yeah.
They're gonna ask me why I'm not wearing hijab.
Yeah, while they have like an anime character in their profile picture. I don't get the correlation, but it's always some weird guy with a weird, random, obscure anime female character in their profile pic that wants to tell you how to be a good Muslim.
I had this interaction with somebody it was about Nakia's evil eye necklace. And here's the thing, right? If you believe, so the evil eye, right? It's very, very cultural. Like, it's in certain Swana countries, right?
Right.
It's supposed to protect against the evil eye, but like it is shirk, which is like it's a kind of haram belief in Islam. So it's like, if you believe that the necklace will protect you, yes, that's haram.
Right.
But most people, it's just a cultural symbol. It's just something cultural. Like, if I don't actually believe, like, she probably doesn't actually believe that evil eye is going to protect her from the devil. Like, it's just a cultural thing.
I mentioned it because like it's actually, I think, like mainly comes from Turkey. Her best friend is totally Turkish, or maybe it's a reference to her friend being Turkish, and she probably just wears it. It's only haram if you believe it. But
also other Middle Eastern countries do too. Yeah,
I think everyone
believe it. And this person goes, it's hard. First of all, some Muslims cannot comprehend, like, so the Prophet said that there would, after his death, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad, he said after his death, at least 99 sects of Islam would form, right? And people just can't like comprehend that there are groups of Islam, like Muslim people, that believe different hadiths, or like have different beliefs other than Sunni or Shia.
Yeah.
Like, this girl was like, what do you mean it's not haram? Like, it's literally shirk or whatever. I'm like, first of all, there are other groups of Muslim people that believe different hadiths, that have different, you know, scholars or whatever.
Right.
And this same girl, she had freaking Scarlet Witch, a witch, as her profile picture. Like, you literally have a witch as your profile picture. Like, that's haram. And you're gonna talk about the evil eye necklace?
The irony. And the thing is, like, I feel like if you like, sometimes I tell people like, hey man, if you want to talk to me, please tell me your SAT scores, because I don't think you know how to do reading comprehension. I think reading comprehension is something you might have had trouble with. So before we engage in this conversation, I want to make sure you can comprehend.
Media comprehension.
Yeah.
Like, some people will literally be like, they'll see like a metaphor and just take it literally. Like, they just have 0. And that same girl was like, well, she doesn't practice black magic. It's fake. The Darkhold is black magic, girl. And
I mean, that's as black
the evil eye
as
is
magic as
fake.
you could get. Like,
the evil eye is fake. Like, they just use their faith to like defend the stuff that they like and just criticize other people.
Yeah, it's a thing where they go around weaponizing religion to bully people, and it's spiritual abuse, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's common with every single religious group. I just watched Under the Banner of Heaven. I don't know if either of you guys know. It's Andrew Garfield.
oh,
And he plays like this Mormon detective that investigates a murder in the LDS
Oh, I think
community.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
Very good. And it's just like there's so many parallels to like certain struggles in any religious community. It's like it's definitely not exclusive to Muslim people for sure, but that's just the type of people that exist.
That's the thing about stereotyping, right? People are looking at Muniba and saying she's toxic, blah blah blah. When that parenting is there are white parents who do that, and that's not even that bad.
100%.
You know what I mean? I forget where I was going with this, but you get what I mean. Like, you're taking a quality and saying it only applies to one group of people, when it's just an across the board kind of thing. Some people,
because they have a subconscious bias where they just assume that people that are brown, that are Muslim, are like abusive in some way.
Right.
Like, they assume, like, they'll be like, oh, you must be abused. But if a white parent does it, it's like, that's just parenting.
Right.
Like, you haven't seen any piece of freaking media where there's conflict between a daughter and a mom. Like,
right.
It's so mild too. It's literally so she snuck out and came home, but like at midnight. Like, that's pretty bad. I would yell at my kid if she did that.
Somebody online said she's equal to Mark Spector's mom in Moon Knight.
Oh my God, I hate that take. That is the dumbest take. Like, Mark Spector's mom literally beat him with a belt, and like there was no love there. There's so much love with Muniba. It's completely different.
And he literally formed 3 personalities to deal with her physical and mental abuse.
Right.
Meanwhile, Kamala came home the next day, said sorry, and then went to a party.
She was allowed to go to the party, which that's a little bit outside of like, if I got in trouble once, which I have been in trouble. Oh,
it's over.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get.
But also, I was only allowed, like, you couldn't have fun twice in a row. It was like,
you go on 2 days in a row.
That's so true.
Your parents would be like, you went somewhere 3 months ago, actually. Didn't you just go to your school dance?
Yeah.
But also, like, I was surprised, like, my parents would much rather have me go to Avenger Con than a party because I feel like she, like, fudged the truth a little bit. Like, didn't really say it was a party and there would be alcohol there. Yeah. So it was having some people.
Also, I feel like she said Nakia was going to be there, and I feel like every brown person has that one friend that if you tell your parents that this person is going to be there, they're more likely to let you go. Like, everyone has that one friend, and I was that one friend for a lot of people.
I was that one friend for one of my white friends, actually, who's like, mom loved me, and anytime he would do something, he would say, "Oh, Risa does it," and she would just like.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, he started vaping once, and she was like, "Why are you vaping? Like, this is nicotine." He's like, "Risa does it." She said it's fine. She researched it. I don't vape.
Oh no.
And I was like,
threw you under the bus.
Yeah.
I know. She must think some awful things about me now. Now that I like think about it.
No, I was known for being like super straight edge, and like whenever anybody wanted to do anything, they would tell their parents that I would be there, and I would go and I would let them do all the bad things, but I just wouldn't participate, and then I'd drive them home. Yeah. I was like, all right, at least
I was definitely rebellious.
Really? I wasn't.
I never snuck out though. I wasn't rebellious in the way where it's like I would go behind my parents' back. I would just kind of be like, what are you gonna do? Take my phone away? Fine, bye.
Oh no.
I was like a consequences later type of gal. I would come home late.
No.
And then
Better
be
to ask
like,
forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
Right? Type
No,
situation.
I was the opposite. Like I was like we were poor, so like I was like really like I studied, I buckled down, and then like I graduated, and then I bought my parents a house, and I put my brothers to bed school, and I was like, all right, listen, I am paying for everything. You're not really gonna tell me what to do.
I'm definitely at that point now. We also grew up poor, and I am the oldest also, so I'm in that position where like now I'm like paying my parents' bills and stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't make good financial decisions. But I'm in the same boat where it's like, but now it's like they definitely, like I've taken like a paternal role for them. Like it's like, now my mom I'm chastising her type of thing.
Oh yeah.
When we were kids, I still was. Like I definitely like, and that was the thing. Like I'd be like, well, I have straight A's. I literally have this many, like, why can't I go? Kind of deal. So like it's like they never had any evidence against me to be like these actions are affecting me in any negative way. Yeah. So I would do all my stuff and then like act out. Yeah. Because
well, hopefully they're not watching the show right now.
My dad will probably watch it. Okay. He loved the first episode, by the way. He watched it twice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Your parents actually watch stuff? Like I don't show my parents anything. Like I don't even tell them about
my mom doesn't.
I've climbed Kilimanjaro. I didn't tell my parents. I like ran with the bulls. I didn't tell my parents. Like they don't need to know my accomplishments.
You know what? They didn't care about any of like my interests until I got a corporate job and like started making money and started paying their bills. They were like, oh, now my dad, like we have a WhatsApp. You guys probably have a WhatsApp group with like all your entire family in it. I have a WhatsApp group with my entire family in it. Oh. And so he'll like post some of this stuff is like embarrassing. I don't want him to post this in my WhatsApp group. Nobody's gonna watch it, first of all.
Yeah. So with my podcast, my co-host wants me to make a Facebook group, and I was like, no, I actually know people. like my parents know people on Facebook. What if they find it? I'd rather just stay on like platforms where like old people don't exist.
Yeah. That's funny. They don't know like anything about your stuff. My parents keep up. My dad made an Instagram account just to like follow my cosplay. Instagram.
I think my parents have Instagram accounts, and I blocked them. I like found them and I blocked them.
My mom created a Facebook and wouldn't let me friend her. Like she was like,
I wasn't even allowed to have Facebook. Straight up, I was a straight up adult, like 18.
Yeah.
No.
I had Instagram and stuff. I don't know why.
So I have a decoy Facebook. So like yeah, so like I add all my aunts and uncles and my friends and my parents on there, and I just like leave it alone, and then they don't look for my real one because they think that my decoy one is my real one. So that's the one that everybody finds, and then my real one I go by Neebs, which my parents don't know that I go by Neebs, but like that's what the one with all my friends in it.
It's like an instant.
Yeah, I mean Kamala probably hides her YouTube channel and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
for sure. Parents. But Neebs, like now that you're grown, you were like said you put your family, your brothers through college and everything. Like, why do you hide it from them? Like, is it because you think they just won't get it? Or
they keep telling me it's the reason why I won't get married. They're like, no one's gonna get married. This shit is weird.
Oh, okay. So that's the difference between you guys and me. I actually had to get married first. So like I had to get married and now I have my independence.
So you got your rights once you got your man.
Right. Like he was a white guy, but I like married him. I have my own place. Like now it's like, what are they gonna say? Now they're hounding me to have a kid, but they can't be like, oh, you do cosplay, so you can't have a kid. Like you're not gonna have a kid.
Yeah, you could always be like pregnant Scarlet Witch.
That's funny. My parents just always like I was literally always reading comics. I was literally always watching sci-fi stuff. So it's like it's just not new for them at all. No. Like literally since like birth.
My parents literally don't know who I am.
That's so funny. Oh. That doesn't sadden you ever? Like that doesn't make you like sad that because I always think about like how I'll never know my parents. Because my dad probably smoked and drank and I would never know.
But the thing is, like, I do a lot of dangerous stuff. Like, I don't like drink or smoke, but like, I'll do something crazy. Like, I've been on
like
the top.
skydiving or something.
Yeah, skydiving probably like the tamest thing that I've done. Like, I've done like, I've swam with sharks. Like, I've done something called wing walking, where you walk on the wing of a plane while it's in the air. Like, I've done this thing. I ran with the bulls. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, you said that once. Yeah.
Holy moly!
I like if I could almost die, I'll do it. Like, that's my thing.
I'm kind of like that, but now I'm like, what if I actually die? Like, I used to want to, like,
I've lived a good life.
Skydiving. Mine just started. I'm telling you, I just got married. Yeah. Mine just started.
Yeah, I have no one in my life. I think I'll be fine. No one will miss me.
Neebs, you're gonna find someone out there. You're gonna find some weirdo who's just like
you. Know, you want to know what's weird? I actually just applied for a Muslim reality dating show.
I saw that you did that,
right?
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen?
I'm rooting for you on there. I hope it's on Netflix.
I don't know what it's going to be on. It might be on Bravo, I think. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. I'm hoping it's like
you gotta make up for what was that guy's name on Love Is Blind?
Oh, Shake.
Shake, you gotta make up for Shake.
Oh, that
he set us back.
Oh.
Yeah.
He set us back.
Yeah. That guy definitely set us back a lot.
I want to thank you guys both for coming on the show and taking time, because I know you guys are 3 hours ahead, so it is getting late over there. I want to thank you guys both for coming out and watching episode 2 and talking about Miss Marvel episode 2 with me and with the people out there and whoever is going to be watching or listening to this after the fact. Thank you so much. Risa, what is your social media? Where can we find you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm Raisin Cosplay on everything. It's Raisin like the dried fruit, Raisin Cosplay on everything, all socials. You can find me mostly on TikTok and Instagram.
Awesome. How's Twitter treating you? You just like...
I literally like never go on it.
Yeah.
Honestly, never, ever.
I wish I didn't have a Twitter, but I do. And so I feel obligated a little bit.
I actually just blew up on Twitter. Like, I had no followers, but just this week, G. Willow Wilson tweeted me, and it got me like a bunch of followers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I am super active on? Like, I'm actually huge on Reddit. I like moderate a massive community. Do not ask me what it is. I will not tell you.
Uh-oh.
Like a huge, like hundreds of thousands of my mom.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Now I'm curious, but I
maybe after you end the show, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to know.
Yeah. Neebs, where can we find you? I know you got a bunch, and I don't know if you've seen your display. I made a display for you that has like most of your stuff on it.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Can you see this show? I know we're talking in Zoom, but if you I'll show it to you later. But I got your Salam Nerds podcast stuff and
cool. Yeah.
What do you got? Where can we find you? All the stuff you got.
So everywhere you can find me is Watch with Neebs. Neebs is spelled Neebz. I also have a podcast called Salam Nerds. And that one is pretty cool. And we have Sagar coming on tomorrow's episode. So check it out if you want to hear some juicy details and some really heartwarming details about production and the show and his character. So yeah, man, it'll be cool.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for coming on the show and taking time out of your night. For anyone out there who is watching the live stream or will watch the live stream, we live stream to volume.com/The Keeg Show, twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, and youtube.com/The Keeg Show. The Keeg is everywhere on social media, whether it's /The Keeg Show or @The Keeg Show. We're pretty much everywhere. TikTok, Instagram are our main ones. We're also on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. And then we also release this as a podcast wherever you get your podcast from. So Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We got a lot of things going on, a lot of Keeg shows, and we got a good amount of episodes. 4 episodes left of Miss Marvel, so we're gonna have 4 more episodes of the Miss Marvel Aftershow that I'm really looking forward to. But thank you so much, Risa. Thank you so much, Neebs, for coming on this, and thank you to the audience out there for watching and or listening. Once again, I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira, and this has been the Miss Marvel After Show talking about episode 2. Take care, everybody. Bye.